What my test for a sport is this: would I go to the fridge and crack open a six-pack and come running back into a living room to watch it? And the answer with that and trampolining is no.
No,
I wouldn't, and I wouldn't get my mates round and go.
No, I wouldn't.
You're coming over.
I don't mean
You're
like
coming
that.
over.
No, I just mean
there's some Romanian trampolining on.
No.
No,
Do you reckon it could be possible?
I don't think it would be big.
Well, that's my answer. That's my question answered. Then that's all I wanted to know.
But women on a trampoline is great, and it's easy on the eye, and I like it in the same way that you like looking at Michael Owen.
It could be quite like a new kind of pornography, watching women trampoline in just like bikinis or
There's
something.
nothing new about men watching women playing sport with that idea in their mind.
I think it should be promoted a lot more.
In fact, people don't realise how erotic ballet is.
I know.
Don't realise that,
dancing
you see.
just,
they think it's all
a proper dance show.
They think it's all kind of like arty-farty and airy-fairy, but it's not.
No.
I mean, those women, and I'm sure for women and for some men, the guys doing it are fantastic.
Yeah.
But, dimples in the buttock cheeks, you see. You can't beat that. Well, you can, of course, but that's a different kind of interest.
Yeah, I think wrestling should be a bit more. Definitely
Wrestling's
a bit
very
more.
sexy. Wrestling's very
Yeah.
sexy. Oh, baby.
Yeah, I think that should be definitely more clothes off kind of thing. I mean, if women rip each other's clothes off when they fight. It's a known fact. I've seen a lot of fights and women do rip each other's clothes off, so why don't they do that in a wrestling match? If they want to make it real, if they want to make it seem like an actual wrestling match, they will do things people do in wrestling matches instead of throwing them through windows.
You know what
Whereas
we need?
actually...
Yes.
Whereas actually, they like rip each other's clothes off and stuff.
Charlotte, I've got to crack on, but you've left us with a lot of lingering thoughts, which I can tell you are still going to be with us when we go to bed, some men, listening to what you're saying. But I'm grateful for all of that, because it's all fertile stuff. 08704 20 20 20. Okay. You have to arm yourself with one single piece of solid information. And if you sort of nest that piece of information in the centre of what... otherwise is a relatively empty argument. And at least you've got one piece of ammunition, that one slingshot, that you can hurl at Goliath. All right?
Bye-bye, baby.
I'll do exactly what I want to do. And
Take care.
No, I'm not going to take care.
Well done, Tim.
I'm going to take as many bloody risks as I want, if you don't mind, pal.
Don't, Tommy. I'm an out of layabout, you know what I mean?
Yeah, well, you're probably also quite talentless.
I'm very, very talentful, Tommy. I'm full of talent.
Well, how come you're on the end of the
my
phone
pores.
then? How come you're on the end of the phone then and I'm on the end of the microphone?
Well, you see, Tommy, rather than phoning up the Samaritans, I thought I'd phone you.
Yeah.
Do you not think it's a better idea then?
I think it's very ordinary material you're working with, but it's better than the performance. Thank you for your call. Line 6, you're live on Talksport. Good evening.
You love Mike Dickin.
I'm fond of Mike Dickin, but not in the way that you suggest.
I love Mike Dickin.
I like Mike Dickin. I don't love Mike Dickin.
I love him.
I love you, Ash, in a sense. I can hear something. He's a bit of a hero, isn't he, for a couple of generations, Scooby-Doo. I used to have to introduce Scooby-Doo, you know, in a former incarnation on the telly.
Yeah.
And I was told that I couldn't call him Shaggy.
What? Oh, right, wow.
I had to call him Shabby. And I said, but if you watch the programme, his name is very clearly Shaggy.
Yeah.
Shaggy.
Yeah.
And the executive said, possibly. I said, no, not possibly, it's Shaggy.
Yeah.
They said, possibly. You can't be certain. I said, well, it's written down as it comes up.
On the
it's
screen,
Shaggy. It's Shaggy.
Voice of Shaggy.
Shaggy. Yeah. And they said, yes, but we're not going to have it on children's television. I said, well, why not? That's his nickname. What? If children know that word can be a euphemism for the sex act, right, then you haven't corrupted them because they already knew that. So where's the corruption? If they don't know that word can be a euphemism for a sex act, right, they're not going to discover it through hearing the word shaggy in this context.
Yeah, but they're going to ask about it, aren't they?
They're not going to say to their mums, what because I'll tell you what it was. None of the characters in Scooby-Doo, when somebody says, what's your name? And he goes, my name's Shaggy.
Yeah.
Nobody goes... They just go, oh, hi.
Shaggy, yeah. Because he looked shaggy, wasn't he?
Yeah, I know. But anyway, I had to call him Shabby. And it was a memo, and it was a sackable offence to call him Shaggy.
Ooh.
Isn't that tragic?
Well, I'll tell you what is more tragic than that.
Yes.
This guy that I met recently, who was about 23 years old, and he didn't know who Scooby-Doo was or what it was.
That's odd, isn't it?
And you know why? Because he had been brought up in a very religious background.
Oh, cool.
And I didn't think there was anybody in this country that didn't know.
Oh,
who
wait a minute,
Scooby-Doo
wait a minute. No name's no pack drill, but one of my sons has got a friend who's not allowed to watch telly.
Can't we do pack drill?
No pack drill.
Yeah.
No name's no pack drill.
Yeah.
Do you want to do pack drill?
Yes.
There was a lovely poem once called Naming of Parts.
Oh, yeah. What does that do?
Written by a poet who had to do his 2 years national service.
Cool.
And he was in a hot prefab, and the sergeant major was up the front, and they were all sat there, and it sort of went like, the aspidistras are blooming, and a golden dew settles on the palm trees outside our hut, but today we have naming of parts. They were going through the parts of a rifle. It's a good poem. We've drifted. What was I going to say? Oh, yeah, I interviewed the bloke who was the voice of Scooby-Doo.
Oh, yeah?
On the phone in California.
Fantastic.
And he was a former ventriloquist.
How?
I can't remember. Who developed a knack for voices through being a ventriloquist. And so they got him in to do... He was also Muttley.
Muttley, yeah.
Yeah, he was Muttley.
He did loads of things, didn't he?
He did. But he never did a proper voice. He was always a really weird voice. But the sad thing was... I phoned him to do the interview.
Yeah.
Switched on the, in the studio, we switched on the tape recorders and everything. It was an audio-only interview. And I rang his number, like 0199111 California. And he picked it up, and do you know what he said? Yeah.
No.
It was sad. He went, ruby-ruby-roo. And I said, oh, no, mate, cut it out, we're not rolling yet. And he went, oh, okay. Americans. I remember something that Kierkegaard said, the philosopher. He said, if you want to change somebody's mind, don't stand opposite them and tell them a view which is opposite to what they think. Go and somehow stand next to them. Kind of put your arm around them and kind of turn them slightly to face the way you want them to face. So what you need to do, I suppose, is say, cool, aren't we lucky to have all these vegetables, really, when you think that our grandparents... I remember going into greengrocers in January with my nan out shopping when I was in a pushchair, and there'd only be potatoes in January.
Yeah.
The idea of being able to eat tomatoes in January was ludicrous.
Yeah.
They were all dead.
Yeah.
But nowadays we get our tomatoes and we go, oh, these aren't very good, or I bet there's a pesticide on these, or, oh, don't tomatoes cause irritable bowel syndrome or something? A sick businessman, that's how he signs himself, emails from Dewsbury. Ever noticed how on Scooby-Doo, Shaggy had to go looking for the ghost with the dog, while Fred always sneaked off with the girls, and we never saw what they got up to? She was all right, wasn't she, the girl in Scooby-Doo?
Mm.
She was all right. Mm. She really was.
Oh, God,
cracking.
yeah, she's fantastic.
When you're about 12 or 13, you feast your eyes on her skirt, the hemline.
She was fantastic. There was something about Thelma as well. I know that but there was something about her.
You say that, but she's the kind of girl that you knew you'd be more likely to actually get off with. Yeah. You go to a party, you see it. What was the beautiful girl's name?
Was it Jane? No,
I can't remember. You see girls like that at a party, and they're always with a tall bloke who's got a car.
Yeah.
But by the end of the evening, when you've drunk of your Watney's Party 7, or whatever the equivalent is nowadays when you're 18, you know that Thelma over there is probably good for the slow dance.
And you'll get further as well.
And she'll be better at it.
Well, yeah, because she has to be.
It's a theory of a friend of mine.
Mine's got that.
Yeah. That pretty girls aren't much good at it.
Yeah.
08700 40 50 60.
Whereas the other girls have to earn it.
That's right. Oh, he said they're grateful.
Yeah, well...
08700 40... I wonder if it's true of blokes.
He's planted rice in the paddy fields of Thailand. He's seen the sunrise from the summit of Mount Kilimanjaro. He's meditated within the ancient walls of Machu Picchu. He's got a Renault Turbo Sport and a TVR. He's got a huge bank balance. He could go out with any woman in the country. Arnold Schwarzenegger is a close personal friend of his family. He's been invited to the Prime Minister's house for drinks. He's the closest thing on earth to the angel Gabriel. He's Tommy Boyd.
Carl has emailed the show from London. Comments, what is the best book you have ever read? I think Shambhala by a Tibetan Chogyam called Trungpa, who was identified as a Chogyam at the age of 9 and spent 40 years studying the great things in Tibet before making his way in the Western world, and rather liking the Western world. In fact, he died with enough alcohol in his bloodstream for him to have wrapped his Cadillac round a maple tree in Canada. And there are worse ways of going at the age of 47. But he wrote a beautiful book called Shambhala, and that is the best book I've ever read. Thank you for your email. Ammo. So that thing about Alan Partridge reminded me of the best joke that we were emailed this weekend, last night. I think you'll like this, Ash. I don't think you'll have heard it. Man goes to the doctor, and the doctor says, what's the matter? And the man says, well, I can't pronounce my F's, T's, and H's. And the doctor says, well, you can't say fairer than that. Peter Thomas from Wellingborough emails, I'm a big fan of the hard rock band The Prodigy. Unfortunately, this doesn't seem to be a popular choice of listening with my school chums. They think it is CREP. What do I do to force them to listen to The Prodigy? I know they would all love it. I think the key to choosing a band when you're in the 5th and lower 6th and 6th form at school is to choose one that none of your classmates have heard of.
They're not a hard rock band, Prodigy.
Are they not?
No, they're more like house, house dance music, man. They've become harder and more like the punk version they've sort of tried to become.
But they're not mainstream.
Well, they're quite mainstream now, these days.
So you should never choose a mainstream band if you want cred in the 6th form common room.
Liking Prodigy was all right 10 years ago, but, you know.
You've got to pick a band, unknown, but with attitude.
Yeah, who are just about to make it big.
Who look as though one of their members will die soon.
Yeah.
Then you've got a band.
That is a real band.
Then that cuts you out as a person
who
is
and get some
ploughing his own furrow. Pardon?
Get some sunglasses.
Get some sunglasses.
And a trilby hat.
Yeah. And pretend that you've got a bird who lives in Ontario. Yeah. That's why you aren't going out with any girls at the moment.
Have some dollar bills in your wallet.
Yes, that's correct.
So when you open it, you know.
Yes.
Foreign money.
Yeah. And yeah, I think that's all sound advice. Sunday. Let's go to line 2 and see who's there. Line 2, you're live on Talksport.
You love TV Rally.
I hate him. I can't stand him. I would love to go 3 rounds with him in a controlled environment with headgear and the whole thing. It would be...
In a control... Wouldn't you want to do it?
No, I can't say on the radio that I'd like to actually creep up on him round the corner of one of those red brick pubs that you get on council estates.
Yeah. Oh, no, you can't say.
Go for it, and really go for it, and really lay in. I couldn't say that.
You only get it on in the ring.
So what I said is, we'd get it on in the ring. And I think that should be lawful to settle a fight. If I was a magistrate and 2 blokes came and there was a dispute over who actually caused the accident, I'd say, look, you're both about the same size, same age. Yeah. We can either discuss it at great length and cost the state £1,000, or you can get in the ring,
sort it out like men.
4 rounds, 2 minutes each round, and sort it out like men.
Well, we don't need rounds, do we?
No.
Because if you have rounds, then you have to have a judge there. It's until one is knocked out.
That's it, or dies.
Well, yeah. Unconscious for 10 seconds.
You
can't have Emu without Rod Hull, though.
No, he makes a good point there, doesn't he? What a way to go, though. Adjusting your television area because you can't quite get a picture for the England International. There are millions of worse ways of going, and I met Rod Hull plenty of times, and I know that he'd be...
I know you have done. I used to watch you when I was a kid.
Quite happy. Yeah, thank you. I'll be quite happy for he'd be quite happy for the conversation to happen. What a way to go. Because we've all got to go one way, haven't we? What's your name, caller?
Mark.
Have you decided how you'd most like to go? How would you like to go, Ash?
I don't really know, but it's got to be down in a blaze of glory.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
But whichever blaze of glory it is, I'd be satisfied.
Chaired shoulder high out of the boudoir by a team of exotic but satisfied ladies of the night, only for your forehead to smash against the top of the door and for you to hit the floor, stone dead. Would be a good way, wouldn't it?
What, women running with you on a chair?
I see about 5 or 6
women
of the night, all exotically dressed.
Yeah.
One as a can-can dancer.
Yeah.
One as Xena, Princess Warrior.
Running with you on a chair?
No, celebrating what fun they've had with me.
Oh, right.
And you know, like they put footballers on their shoulders.
Yeah.
They've done good.
Yeah.
Right. So they've got me up on their shoulders.
Yeah.
And, you know, they're running round with me, and the crowd's clapping, because I've been that good.
Yeah.
And they try to run out of the boudoir, and it's an exotic boudoir with a big 4-poster bed in it, where we have recently...
Yeah.
And they're running round the boudoir,
Yeah.
going, hooray! It wasn't he was the star.
Yeah.
5 of them, 6 of them maybe, 10, I don't know. And then they try to run out of the boudoir and down the grand staircase in Madame's, whatever it is.
Yeah.
And I hit my head on the top of the door.
Yeah.
Bang! And I'm out like a light and gone.
You fall back off the chair.
Gone to my reward. Safely gathered in.
Smack your head on the floor.
I hit my forehead on the door top.
And then your back of the
head.
It's
a big oak door top. I can see it now. I can see the room. Lots of ostrich boas and Persian rugs and candles and incense, joss sticks, you know, that kind of thing. Mirrors. And
smack your
and one of those old gramophone records with Edith Piaf playing on it. No, if I have no rights.
Now what happened?
And I bang my head, and then I over and back, and I get a second whack back on my head.
And what do the women do?
And I'm
that?
gone. Fractured skull. The women, there's much wailing and gnashing of teeth.
Are they all around going, oh?
And standing around looking casual when the police arrive.
Yeah.
That's how it is for me.
It's a good way to go. It's a good way.
Off the top of my head. 08700 40 50 60. Which I've never forgotten, which was the boy stood on the burning deck. Twit. Which was good.
Yeah.
And also, the herring is a lucky fish from each disease inured. Should he be ill when caught at sea, immediately he's cured. Which is quite a good one. Let's go to line 1 and see who's there. Line 1, you are live on Talksport. Who's this?
This is Brooksy from Birmingham.
Hello, Brooksy from Birmingham.
Are you Ash?
No.
Ash?
No.
It's not.
Tommy. It's Tommy.
Are you Tommy?
Yeah, it's me, and Ash.
And Ash, yeah.
But he's hiding behind the sofa. He probably knows who you are.
Tommy, I've just been listening to you for the last couple of nights here, and I just switched on to it. Listen, can you get somebody to entertain as somebody funny? Because my wife and I love listening to this line, listening to this. They're all so flippin' boring, the lot you've had on there.
Yeah, that's how it is with phone-in radio. You probably knew that.
No, I didn't know that. I was expecting to be entertained, but I'm not getting entertained because all I've heard is a load of boring people on there.
Oh, well, you can bog off and listen to Radio 5 or some such tosh. Nobody's detaining you. It's not compulsory.
Well, I thought you were going to entertain me. That's why we switched on to it.
I'm not going to entertain the likes of you. I wouldn't want to. If I could, I would deny myself it. You're not worth entertaining.
Am I not?
Nope.
No. Okay, Tommy, whatever you say.
That's it.
Goodbye,
every time,
Tommy.
whatever I say.
I'll switch off.
I wish you would.
Well, I'm going to do that. I'm going to listen to a good one, a local radio
You won't
station.
find one because it's all tosh, mate. It's all rubbish.
It's just like the rubbish
I'll tell you what it is. There's loads of radio stations out there that pander to half-wits and dull people like you who've got no future, who've got no past, haven't got 2 brain cells to run together, and you're lying there next to a funny-looking wife with your slippers under the bed and your dressing gown on top of the eider-down because you can't afford central heating, and you're sitting there and you're thinking to yourself, if only I was Tommy Boyd, if only I was Tommy Boyd, I'd give my left left arm to be Tommy Boyds, because his life and his genius and his wit is so far away from what little I've got that if I had just a spoonful of what he's got, I'd be happy, but I haven't and I never will have. So what I'll do is, rather than ring him and glory him in his own genius and his own talent and his own unique ability to create something out of nothing, I'll call and I'll bite him on the ankle like the mosquito that you are. The mosquito that you are.
To listen to a plonker like you.
Yeah. Good though, aren't I? Hey?
Oh, I tell you what, that was
Nobody
another
else can do
rancid
that.
call.
Yeah, I like it.
Very rancid.
I love it. Come at me, come at me. Line 3, you're live on Talksport.
Hello, Tommy.
Hello there.
Hi. I've rang up. I just wanted a bit of your advice, and maybe some other listeners can ring up and give me some advice. 5 weeks ago, my husband was diagnosed with a mental illness, schizophrenia. He was taken into hospital. He was sectioned for 28 days. He came out on Friday and spent the weekend with us, and this morning he took the car. He forgot to take his medication this morning, and he took the car, and he had a really bad crash, and the woman that he collided into was actually taken to hospital, but I don't know what her situation is. But I'm just finding it really difficult to cope, Tommy. I've got 3 children at home, and I'm trying to be strong for everybody, but I just want some help, and I don't want to go and talk and see anybody and talk about it because I can't face people. You know, and I just wanted just to talk to somebody and maybe give me some advice on how to cope with it. And God, I'm so sorry. Maybe other people have been in my situation and can ring in and maybe give some advice on how to cope and deal with this.
Possibly. All I would say to you is that life throws hard times at all of us, and what I've found and what I've seen in other people is that there's this old Russian saying, when you are a hammer, strike, but when you are an anvil, bear. And sometimes there's no solution, there's no person that can actually do anything, no organisation that can really do very much. Life sends us really hard times, and I'm so sorry to hear that you're in this situation.
I'm just finding it really difficult to cope.
It's when you have to call it. It's one of those times when you just have to call on whatever inner strength you have. Coupled with the fact, I don't suppose you've got many options, really, have you?
Yeah, I'm trying to be strong for the children's sake. I'm trying to keep the family together, the house going, finances and everything like that. And I'm trying to be strong for my husband, but nobody can see the inside of me, and I don't want to show them that I'm breaking down because I know my children are trying to cope with it in their own way.
It helps us, it helps us to have external reasons why we have to perform, outwardly at least, in a way which is better than we might do if we were true to the torment that we've got inside, where we would just want to sit on the stairs and sob for days on end. But if we can't do that because we've got children, in many ways, that's a help. It keeps us sane. Some psychiatrists tell you, that you can work on yourself by starting on the outside and working in. And if you carry yourself in a certain way, externally...
That's what I've been doing. My insides are just falling apart, Tommy. I can't seem to find anything that can keep me occupied without me wanting to burst, wanting to scream out and shout out. But it doesn't matter where I turn, where I look. I just feel I have to constrain myself. That's what is expected of me, and that's what I've never been...
I don't know. I tell you, there was a therapy that was very fashionable in America about 20 years ago called primal scream therapy, where you'd just go in a padded room and bash hell out of everything, and you wouldn't hurt yourself or anything that mattered for an hour. And I go for a run and I push myself if I've got a lot going on. That's what I do. But of course, if you've got young children, when are you going to get time to do something like that even?
That's what I'm saying. The youngest is still at home, but the other 2 are at school, and I take the youngest to my parents, and then I'll go to the hospital and visit my husband. But then I've got to be back home in time to pick up the children, and everything needs to carry on.
And there are times for me when I actually feel like getting on the outside of a whole bottle of Jack Daniels. But again, if you've got children...
Well, that's it.
You can't wake up with a hangover.
I don't want to resort to drink to cover what I'm feeling. I don't think that's the answer, right?
Well, no, it might not be the answer, but there is... My point I'm making is that there isn't an answer, but sometimes you feel as though you ought to be able to indulge your torment.
Exactly.
By whatever means.
I want others to see what I'm going through.
Well, I don't know why that... See, that's interesting, because I don't know why that would help. But it would. I know it would, but I don't know why that helps.
Maybe people will say the right things to me, People, everybody keeps saying to me, you need to cope, you need to be strong for the children's sake, for your husband, but I don't know. I'm not seeming to be getting any strength from anywhere else. I feel like I'm the pillar and everybody is leaning against me. And if I sway in any direction, it's just that everybody's going to collapse with me. I'm the one pillar that's keeping the whole house up. I just feel like that.
Listen, it's quite a long life, and all our lives have episodes like this, and hopefully all our lives, this isn't always the case around the world, but is the case for almost everybody in Britain, all our lives also have moments in the sun. And you will have moments in the sun. They're further away than you would like.
Everything just looks so negative, so
But it
dark.
will fall into place. It will. I mean, that's just a fact. There will be a time, I can't tell you when, but there will be a time when you will lie back and just briefly, not with a smile on your face, but with a sense of satisfaction that you got through this, remember what it was like and how bad those times were. My wife and I often talk about bad times that we've had. Not too often, because it can bring you down, but, what I'm saying is life's a roller coaster, and you get dragged up to the top of the thing, and then down into the pit, and then crawl back up to the top of the thing, and then back down into another pit. All I'm saying to you is that you haven't got many options, it seems to me, and I understand that imprisonment, because, especially with children, we've all been there. But, the sun will rise. That's all. That's all. Just stay alive and keep other people alive, and be the wonderful mum and wife that you are. And the sun will rise. I promise you that. Because I'm sure of that.
It just seems so far away at the moment,
I know.
Thank you, Tommy.
Yeah, I mean, you're right, man. The sun always rises.
It does most of the time.
And if it doesn't, then we're all knackered anyway.
Well, we are, aren't we?
Yeah.
We've been talking about the possibility that even an animal could get through on the switchboard on this show if it had access to automatic redial. Now, what happened to us, Ash, and I thought I may have told you this off air because it was one of our golden children moments in our house.
Yeah.
Did I tell you this? My wife...
No, I don't think so.
My wife, this was several years ago, my wife went round to see her mother and took my eldest son, who at the time was only about 14 months, got round there and sat him on the breakfast bar in the kitchen. Yeah. And his nappy went onto the phone in my mother-in-law's house, and it was on an automatic redial thing.
Yeah.
And it knocked it off the hook and automatically redialed our house.
Yeah.
So I'm at home and the phone rings. So I picked it up and I said hello. And I could hear something going on, a bit like when we select a switch, a line here.
Yeah.
And you can hear there's somebody there, but you don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
So I could hear something going on. So I went, hello? Hello? It sounded like somebody had rung and then put the phone to one side and gone off, because I could hear voices.
Yeah.
And I kept going, hello? Hello? And I listened. And although it was very low level, I could hear it was my wife.
Yeah.
And I could hear her having a conversation with her mum. And I could hear the occasional very loud gurgle.
Yeah.
So it took me about 5 minutes, so I worked out what had gone on.
Yeah.
Okay. So when my wife got home,
Yeah.
I said, how's your mum? She said, she's fine. I said, that's good. And a bit later on in the evening, I said, my studies in shiatsu are going very well, because I was studying a Japanese therapy called shiatsu.
Yeah, shiatsu.
And I was saying about how it's sort of semi-psychic powers.
Yeah.
And my wife said, how does that work then? I said, well, sometimes when you practice shiatsu on somebody, you can gain access to their experiences. And I believe that. She said, oh. So I said, look, let me do your feet. So I started doing her feet on the sofa. She's going, well, that's nice. And then I said... And she went, what? I said, your mother is having trouble with her central heating boiler. And Jane jumped up, bolt upright, and she went, how did you know that? And I said, no. She had a man round on Tuesday, and I'm working her feet and making out I can read her mind. She had a man round on Tuesday, and he didn't seem to do very much, and he said that she'd get a bill for £85, and Jane was going bonkers. I let it go on for a couple of minutes, and then I put her out of her misery, and I said what had happened.
No, you should have told her. You shouldn't have told her.
Shouldn't have told her.
You kept it going for ages.
Kept it going for ages, but that I'm
still
psychic.
think-
Well, my wife is very gullible when it comes to me.
Yeah.
Very gullible when it comes to me. We were going to fly in a little private plane one time, and I told her to wait on the tarmac. I'd go and meet the pilot. I went up to the conning tower, and the pilot said to me, he said, I'll be down in 5 minutes. He said, can you take these down with you? And he gave me the helmet and the headphones.
Yeah.
So I went down onto the tarmac, and I said to Jane, he's not feeling very well, so he said to me, can you fly? And I said to him, well, I've never done it, but there can't be much to it. he said, well, go on then. He said, if you get into trouble, give me a call. So I said to Jane, come on then, off we go. And she walked towards the plane with me, my wife, she's wonderful, and she walked towards the plane with me. We got about halfway, and she said, oh no, I'm ever so sorry. She said, I can't go through with this. She said, I can't. She said, I know you're a clever man. She said, I know you can do anything. She said, but I'm not comfortable about you flying across. So I had to put her out of her misery, because she believes me, my wife, and that's because I use the
flying those little planes, you know.
I'd love to do that. It looks easy. If some of those guys can do it, so can we. And speaking of irritating people, I like to irritate young men, if possible, who are jealous, because it's fantastic. So we play that intro to the third hour of the show, the one that really gets them going. Okay.
That's what I was going to play.
I know, but we thought we'd have a word with Nick about the... Get off of me that again!
I shall strike the gong and it shall go.
He's planted rice in the paddy fields of Thailand. He's seen the sunrise from the summit of Mount Kilimanjaro. He's meditated within the ancient walls of Machu Picchu. He's got a Renault Turbo Sport and a TVR. He's got a huge bank balance. He could go out with any woman in the country. Arnold Schwarzenegger is a close personal friend of his family. He's been invited to the Prime Minister's house for drinks. He's the closest thing on earth to the angel Gabriel. He's Tommy Boyd.
Yeah, a young man rang up last night. He was irritated by that and the information in it. And he wanted to know about my GTI and the TVR. And he was clearly sort of seething, but he was trying to disguise it. And then he came on and he said he was from Ipswich, Flatlands. And he went, because you see, the thing is, he said, I've got 2 stretch limos. And I said to him, how did that happen? But you filled in the form wrong. Did you tick the wrong box twice? Or was it like buy one, get one free? Or...
Why have you got one limo?
That's what I said to him. You can get more people in a galaxy. It's free. All right, from 10 to 11 anyway. Line 5, you're live on Talksport.
Hi.
Hello.
Tommy.
Yes.
Yes, you know, this young lady, lady phoned you up a while ago about her husband, schizophrenic, who'd had a car crash. Might suggest she gets in touch with an organisation such as the Samaritans, who may be able to counsel her professionally, and may well put her in touch with a support group for supporters of people like her husband.
Well, I thought you ring the Samaritans, really, if you're feeling suicidal. And
no, they'll... Well, she wasn't suicidal, but she was also very distressed.
Yeah, I know, but I'm not sure what the deal is with the Samaritans. I'm sure they wouldn't turn anybody away. They wouldn't.
No,
they would. First of all, you know,
they would be able to help
suicidal.
her. But she may it wouldn't go that way. But they may well be able to put her in touch with a support group.
Yeah, they may well. She can do that if she wants to. I'm not convinced myself about getting help in. I mean, I think people do pretty well, really. Sometimes they just like to say how hard their lives are, and that keeps them...
But she's obviously having trouble supporting her husband.
No, she isn't actually. She's doing it very well.
Well, she's finding it hard though with the kids and everything.
Well, what isn't hard? You
Well,
say?
no.
I mean, if we all went out looking for support groups all the time, every time it got a bit hard, then you know.
But if there are people in similar situations. Yeah.
No, maybe.
Yeah. The other thing, if you're going screenless and your email is down, what's Ash doing there?
Well, haven't you been listening?
Well, he chats to you, but
Yeah.
he does your screening, doesn't he?
No.
Okay, got that wrong.
No, I'm technical director and creative philosopher.
So he just watches the clock for you.
Well, he does
do all
it. He
these-
drives the show. How do you think the news happens?
Okay, Tommy.
Very technical, this stuff.
Okay, yeah. Line 1, you're live on Talksport. Good evening.
Up, 2, 3, 4. Up, 2, 3, 4. Keep on up. 2, 3, 4. Up, 2, 3, 4. Up, 2, 3, 4. To the right. 2, 3, 4. Up, 2, 3, 4. To the left. 2, 3, 4. Up, 2, 3, 4. Up, 2, 3, 4. To the left. 2, 3, 4. Up, 2, 3, 4. To the right. 2, 3, 4. Up, 2, 3, 4. Stop.
It was good, mate. It was good. It was good. It was art, because I don't know what that was about. Yeah. We were talking about this earlier, you and me, Ash, weren't we?
Yeah.
What is art?
Yeah, what is art, man? But we answered the question.
I think we did.
I think we did.
I think we did, and that was art for me, because it made me think.
Thank you. Made all the parts of your mind tingle.
You know, you think, where's it going? What's he going to do? Is he going to break into a song? Is there going to be a point to it? Thank God there wasn't a point to it. I can't stand it if there's a point to it.
It had a nice texture.
It did, and the performance was quite good.
Yeah, rhythmical.
Yeah, and he didn't fall into the trap of trying to impersonate a sergeant major.
No.
He did it, you know, in a slightly sort of boyish, fey way.
But it was almost trance-like.
It was. And I think when you march in the army, there is something quite transcendental about it, I would think.
It's a sort of alpha wave meditational thing.
Line 2, you're live on Talksport.
I smell bacon. Life's gonna suck when you grow up, when you grow up, when you grow up. Life's gonna suck when you grow up. It sucks pretty bad right now. Life's gonna suck when you grow up, when you grow up, when you grow up. Life's gonna suck when you grow up. It sucks pretty bad right now.
Oh yeah. Movement of livestock.
When you grow up, when you
There's not enough of it.
grow up. Life's gonna suck when you grow up, and then you're gonna die.
Well, in a funny way, it's the Human Zoo on Talksport. Let's go to line 4. Hi, line 4. Very good. We're wide awake. Chap who, I won't tell you about the chap who wrote that. Very talented man. He came second in the bidding for the EastEnders theme, he was telling me. Because musicians were asked to send in, you know, ideas for the EastEnders theme when EastEnders started up. And he was called in, and it was down to 3. And they all got to listen to each other's. And he said, because he's a nice guy, he said, when I heard the one that won it, he said, I realised that was going to win it.
Yeah,
said,
I mean,
that is just the most brilliant. He said it's the most brilliant TV theme ever written.
The alleged accomplice, Mr. Timothy Mallet, remains at large this evening. Police have advised the public not to approach this odd-looking man because he is armed with a large hammer and extremely dangerous. More news as we get it. This is Mick Fleetwood, Human Zoo News, Macclesfield.
I wish I'd hit Timmy Mallet. I had plenty of opportunities. I shoved him up against the wall once, but I never actually slugged him. Line 5, you're live on the Human Zoo. Good evening. All right?
Yes, I suppose so, but it's nice to have a mixture of... They should have some anoraks and some normal people, if you know what I mean.
We could very easily do an anorak focus group, but it would be a nightmare, wouldn't it? All those people who know exactly what special wavelength we broadcast on from one of our northern transmitters on account...
They talk about atmospherics. And
yeah, and they know things that we don't know.
And we cannot confirm nor deny.
They know the name of the woman who used to be the receptionist in 1997. You know, that is very, very wrong.
Oh, I see, Tommy. Can I ask you just one thing? What's the funniest call you've ever had since you've been doing phoning?
Oh, I'll have to give that some thought, but I will return to that one. Thank you, Stephen.
Thank you very much.
Not at all. Bye-bye. That is a very good question, and I will have to give that some thought. I think it's possibly when Tony Blackburn rang in to a phone-in I was doing, because I mentioned on air, all I said was, and I didn't know he was listening, all I said was, on air, never get talking to a Radio 1 disc jockey. The only two topics of conversation that animate them are the advantages of getting cash in hand for personal appearances and hair replacement techniques. And 5 minutes later on my screen came Tony in Earl's Court. So I said, let's go to Tony in Earl's Court. And this unmistakable voice said, oh, hello, Tommy, thank you very much indeed for taking my call. And I said, hello, it's you? Well, like just phoning a phone-in programme.
Sensational.
He said, sensational. He said, what it was is that I was just wanted to pick you up on a remark that you made a couple of moments ago about topics of conversation in Radio 1 disc jockeys. And I realised I might have hurt him. So I was ever so
You had hurt him.
Well, he's a nice bloke.
Yes, he does seem like... I've never met him, but
yeah, he's a nice
I can
bloke.
see he's a nice guy.
Oh, absolutely. He's not Socrates, but he's a nice bloke.
One of the nicest ones to come out of that station.
No questions. 08700 40 50 60. To line 5. Hi, line 5. You're live on Talksport's Human Zoo. Who have we here?
Dad! Your hand is jammed in the toaster!
Push it up! Oh, God, get it up! Get it up! Get it up!
Dad, it's in there again!
Ah, no! Ah! It's stuck in my head!
Good one. Now, that's a good bit of audio. That'll do for me. Right duration. Completely abstract. Plenty of stuff going on. That was a 10.
I like wooden hanger. What are they called?
Coat hangers. But you
Coat
don't
hangers.
buy them, do you?
No.
I've never bought a coat hanger.
But where do wooden ones come from? Because you've always got a couple of nice wooden ones.
Yeah, where
did they come from?
And you keep your best jacket on.
Yeah.
them. And you do gradate, don't you? Your coat, your clothes according to the hanger.
The
So
hanger,
your best
yeah.
coats, your best coat hangers.
Yeah.
And the wire ones, they get your old jeans and your.
But the wooden ones, where did they come from?
Where do we? How come we've all got a couple of pairs?
Traditional craftsmanship.
Well, when we move from flat to house and so forth, I suppose that's a good chance to clear out some stuff. And I think we do probably say, "Oh, I'm not taking all these coat hangers. I'll leave them. The people who are moving in will be grateful for them." And that's all the wire ones.
Yeah, yeah.
And the mystery wooden ones travel with us to the grave.
Maybe they're left in wills to people.
Oh, I don't think so.
Yeah.
But he raised an interesting topic, and it will have detained a great many listeners. 5, you're live on the Human Zoo. Hello.
Hello?
Hi.
I will pleasure your wife.
There's a technique. Hello?
Don't
Go on.
just jump in.
No. When you've been deeply in love with a human being for many years, you can play her like a friendly old piano that has... No.
Within 10 minutes.
Well, I can, you see.
Yeah.
I know which notes to hit.
Yeah.
And which notes go... Oh.
The treble clef.
Yeah. Line 5, hi.
The crotchet.
The crotchet and the quaver. Line 5. And line 1, it's your turn. Hello, line 1.
Yo, Tommy. It's Steve here with my disco. It's really happening here. I am larping his message. Ka-ching. Great respect to ya, and this one for you. And the Tommy Posse. Biggest large man. Doing good.
Okay, that's the first Stephen Hawking for a couple of weeks. I'm just going to say something about the Stephen Hawkings. They usually work, but when they're to music, they're very difficult because obviously the voice is quite hard to pick up, and you do want to hear the words. And I think they work best bald.
Yeah, I mean that wasn't mixed
brilliantly. It was a great effort, and it's good that people do the work, and that's cool. But
a good effort.
I think for Stephen Hawking, I just as soon hear what's being said.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's go to line 4. Hi, line 4. You're live.
I'm a scat man.
Don't know what this is. Any ideas?
European sort of dance crap.
Oh, is it? Oh dear.
Yeah, you know that stuff.
The Europeans can't do
No.
music or dancing or disco.
No.
You ever been to a European nightclub? Feeble.
Oh God, it's just awful. The only ones who did make good house music at a certain point were the Italians.
No.
Yes, the Italians have made some good house music
Really?
early in the sort of late 80s, early 90s.
Yeah.
But I mean, the rest of Europe, you know.
Yeah, awful.
Rubbish.
You go to disco in France and it's pathetic.
It is pathetic.
It is. It's
music
pathetic.
in Europe.
And in Sweden as well. You'd
Yeah.
expect Sweden to rock a little bit, but
Yeah.
oh, nightmare.
Amsterdam.
It's the worst place.
Terrible.
Portugal.
Yeah.
Lisbon.
Yeah.
Went to a nightclub in Lisbon.
Yeah.
And they were doing the latest dance,
Yeah.
which was the surfboard.
Oh yeah.
And they were all standing in a line.
Pretending they're on the surf.
Yeah, with one foot in front of the other.
Yeah.
And their one arm forward, as though they were on a surfboard. And they were all just going backwards slightly and then forwards slightly.
Yeah.
To this sort of awful, dreamy, rubbishy music with a slight beat.
Yeah.
And they would do this
And
for
they love it.
half an hour.
They love it, don't they?
Ah, gee.
It's the time of their lives, doing
Yeah,
this
yeah.
rubbish.
Yeah. But they're a very benign lot, the Portuguese.
I mean, you know, we've all got great cultures and great art and stuff, but nowadays, only Britain is great in Europe for culture.
Well, you see,
when it comes to stuff like that.
I have a thing, this is me in Europe, right? I think it's a good idea that there's a European Union, and I think peace in Europe depends on it. And we've had 2 world wars, all because there was no peace in Europe, and that is why the rest of the world wants Europe to sort it out. And you've got to understand that. But I'm reluctant to lose a couple of things that we might lose in this country, and one of them is our edge.
Yeah.
Because I think it's our edge that's given a lot of people in this country the impetus to be artistic and to challenge things. And it doesn't surprise me that, you know, it's this country that's the best at rock and roll music in Europe by far, because of the edge there is in this country. And characters like, you know, the geezer who's taken the fashion world by storm. What's his name? The Queen.
Yeah.
It just wouldn't happen in... okay, there's the Gaultier bloke in France, but he's an act and he's soft and what have you. But British people who've got a bit of an edge and are able to harness their anger and their aggression positively, make a greater contribution to global life than, it has to be said, frankly, than the younger generation in Europe, who are a jolly sort of nice lot, but don't seem to want to mix it. And I wouldn't want us to lose that.
No.
I wouldn't.
No.
Do you know
That's
what I
all
mean?
we've got now. You know?
Probably.
No motor industry.
No.
No technical, you know, television, making televisions or stereos.
Well, it's one of the great myths that British television programmes are the best in the world.
No, I mean actual machines.
Oh, I see, the
television
technology. Well, I hadn't told you this, but I read the other day that there are more people working in telesales in this country than in the coal, steel and car building industries put together.
Oh, I can believe that.
Yeah,
because, I mean...
600,000
Tellies, there's loads of people doing it's all companies do now, isn't it? Phoning you up.
600,000 people, yeah, do that. And it's high pressure stuff, too. They're not sitting around making a phone call and then having a chat and a fag.
No.
Apparently, if they spend more than 4 seconds, I think it is, in between calls, it's noted by the technology, and the supervisor comes round and gives them a kick.
They can drop in at any point, you know, on the call.
08700 40 50 60 is the number. It's the Human Zoo.
Don't forget to subscribe and like. Comment too if you wish. Even slap your legs and make a purchase from Ann Summers. But don't do nothing.